Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into some seriously fascinating community-sourced clues to uncover exactly why Tesla's Robotaxi rollout seems to have, well, hit a bit of a wall. But as you'll see, there is actually a massive operation hiding right in plain sight. By piecing together all this raw data, we can figure out exactly what's going on behind closed doors. So let's just jump right in. Is Tesla deliberately holding the Robotaxi back? I mean, when folks in the community started spotting over 100 gold Cybercabs just sitting in a Houston parking lot, and get this, many of them completely missing their steering wheels, it was really easy to assume Tesla was just stalling. But if you look closer, the evidence actually points completely away from a delay. Instead, we're looking at a massive, very quiet scaling effort. To put that into perspective, just consider the number 2300. That is the highest Cybercab VINs spotted recently, hanging out in a Fort Worth lot alongside 38 other Cybercabs and 8 Model Ys. Now, since VINs are sequential, jumping from the low hundreds just a few months ago all the way up to 2300 proves something huge. It proves that factory production has been quietly humming along at a really impressive clip. The cars absolutely exist, they just aren't out on public roads picking up passengers quite yet. And they aren't just chillin' in Texas either. The community has literally tracked a secret army of over 200 Cybercabs staged all across the country. We're talking 42 cabs baking out in the Las Vegas desert, reportedly to stress test their HVAC systems in that extreme heat, all the way to fleets spotted in Chicago, Orlando, and San Antonio. Tesla is aggressively staging vehicles nationwide, across 14 cities and 7 states, often in places where the service hasn't even officially launched yet. So if they have all these cars, why are they just parked? Well, the devil is really in the details, specifically the fine print of Nevada's interim permit. Recent paperwork revealed that Tesla actually went to Nevada and asked to run up to 5,000 vehicles. Huge, right? But regulators pushed back. They issued an interim permit for just 10 fully autonomous cars. On top of that, they restricted them to 45 miles per hour on the Vegas Strip and completely banned airport pickups for the time being. So the door is open, but regulators are making sure it only opens a tiny crack to start. That completely explains why dozens of brand new cars are just sitting and waiting in desert lots. All right, let's move into Section 1, decoding the operational clues. Shifting gears from the hardware staging, let's look at the operations. Eagle-eyed trackers scrutinizing that Houston lot noticed some bizarre, highly specific details. For instance, only 26 of the cars had official Cybercab decals, but critically, 2 of those Cybercabs had fully registered front license plates. You definitely don't register a car with no steering wheel unless you are planning to put it on a public road very, very soon. Even more intriguingly, mysterious QR stickers were spotted stuck to the bottom left windshields of every single car that was missing a steering wheel. Now, the secret behind those QR codes was actually leaked by accident, courtesy of the Austin Fire Department. They posted some photos online showing this exact sticker. And it turns out it's a dedicated protocol for first responders. If a fire crew rolls up to an incident, they scan that code and get immediate safe shutdown instructions for the vehicle. This perfectly aligns with the fact that 4 fire trucks were recently seen training at Tesla's Austin depot. And think about it. You don't run fire crews through your private depot unless you are checking off the very last operational box before pulling the human safety driver out of the front seat. Another massive operational clue: connectivity. Unlike competitors like Waymo, who have to rely on sometimes spotty cell tower networks at the very edge of their geofenced maps, Cybercabs have been spotted rocking clean, factory-riveted Starlink panels. That means native satellite connectivity is standard equipment right off the assembly line. Look, a driverless car is essentially a giant paperweight if it loses connection to the network. Solving that problem right out of the gate with their own in-house satellite network, that is a massive operational advantage. Which brings us nicely to Section 2, solving the curb problem. To really grasp the software friction happening in that crucial final 10 feet of a ride, we just have to look at a recent test by FSD user Chuck Hook. He hailed an unsupervised Robotaxi in Austin. Now, one of his trips, over to Terry Black's barbecue, was phenomenal. It cost $105 and he only waited 3 minutes. But another super simple 2.1-mile trip took an agonizing 34 minutes. Why on earth did it take so long? Because the car just endlessly looped around his downtown hotel, completely unable to figure out how to successfully pull over for the pickup. This whole situation perfectly illustrates what industry analysts call the curb problem. Think about the sheer engineering headache of using software to map safe, perfectly legal stopping points at 10,000 different unique locations. Without a human driver sitting there to make a quick, nuanced judgment call, the software struggles.
That leads to cars passing up perfectly good parking spots, awkwardly stopping in illegal handicap zones, or sometimes just throwing in the towel and ending rides smack in the middle of a busy road.
But here's the thing. Tesla is actively patching this up, literally address by address. Trackers are seeing live map updates instantly fixing unmapped locations. Like one day a gym in Houston wasn't in the system, and suddenly it was flawlessly added to the pickup network. Tesla is even throwing RGB light bars onto the front of the Cybercabs. Just imagine opening your app after a concert and it tells you to look for the purple light bar. You'd be able to easily spot your specific ride in a crowded sea of identical gold cabs. It's a relatively small hardware tweak, but it's an absolutely vital fix for a smooth rider experience.
Let's move on to Section 3, the final launch gates.
As analysts are quick to point out, you just can't 10x your fleet if you're also 10xing those terrible 34-minute pickup moments. So the main software gate holding back a wider rollout is FSD version 15. This specific update is a total game changer because it brings memory to the car. Basically, it allows the vehicle to remember successful curb entrances for specific destinations. This completely negates the need for Tesla to manually hand-patch 10,000 individual locations through a backlog of support tickets. The second version 15 ships, that major software bottleneck just vanishes.
But there's a physical gate here too, and it requires some serious infrastructure. Enter the number 124. Tesla recently filed plans for a massive 124-stall V4 supercharger right in the heart of San Francisco. And poetically enough, it's being built directly on top of a former yellow cab storage lot. Here's the reality. A driverless fleet absolutely requires these massive city depots to function at scale. Think about all the highly unglamorous, behind-the-scenes operational work that human Uber drivers do totally invisible. A fleet needs a hub to charge up every few hours. It needs a place where someone can scrub the tires, wipe down the camera lenses, and fish lost iPhones out of the back seat. Tesla has to physically construct these operational depots city by city before they can flip the switch and turn the app on for the public.
Wrapping things up, let's head into Section 4, Demo to Mass Product.
When we look at the competitive financial reality of the market right now, it's pretty easy to see why critics are demanding proof of actual scaling. Just look at the current state of the Texas DMV. It really validates Morgan Stanley's Show Me bear case. Waymo currently has 691 registered vehicles operating in Texas. Tesla? They only have between 181 and 186 Model Ys registered for Robotaxi operation, and exactly 0 Cybercabs officially registered yet.
But, and this is a big but, we really have to look at the unit economics. Community-synced ride receipts are showing median fares right around $7 to $11. Right now, at this tiny, limited scale, that revenue is barely a rounding error. But once Tesla's purpose-built, factory-scaled Cybercabs finally clear those launch gates we just talked about, those underlying unit economics are going to completely transform the narrative. It goes from being a highly polished, limited demo to a massive, wildly profitable mass product.
Ultimately, when you take a step back and look at all this physical evidence, the QR stickers, the fire department protocols, the targeted curb mapping, the massive charging depots, it shows a company that is methodically grinding through its final operational checklist. As the quote perfectly nails it, the constraint stops being polish and permits and becomes production. They're getting everything in order so they can unleash their absolute biggest advantage, world-class manufacturing at scale. So as we all eagerly wait for that very first paying driverless rider, or for FSD version 15 to drop, or for Nevada to finally lift its 10-car cap, I want to leave you with this thought. What happens to the entire autonomy industry once this meticulously polished, factory-scaled fleet is finally unleashed on the world? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. I really hope you found this breakdown insightful.